Now, I want to introduce to you a young lady who's doing something for the community and something for young ladies. And I've known her for quite a long time. She's a wonderful young lady, Raquel Wilson. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I love that hat.
Thank you, my fascinator.
Yes, it is. Can I try it on?
Yes, you can.
I mean, I have to just try it on. I'm testing it to see if it's is that the back or the front?
You could wear it either way.
Okay. All right. Uh-oh.
Oh, I like it on you.
Anyway, anyway, good morning, heartache. You old gloomy sigh. Good morning, heartache. Seems we said goodbye last night. Well, anyway, every time I put on one, I have to sing Billie Holiday. But Raquel, you're giving an event, an exciting event. It's coming up. Why don't you tell us all about it? And then we'll get back to who Raquel Wilson is.
It's the Mad Hatter's Tea Party and Breakfast. It will be held May 30th at 11 a.m. Doors will open at 10:30 at the Great Lakes Culinary Center in Southfield.
What street is that located on?
That's on 9 Mile. 9 Mile at Telegraph.
Right. And this is going to be an exciting event because it's a charity, right?
Yes, it's a Friends Raising Funds event. We're raising money for Alternatives for Girls.
Now, tell us about Alternatives for Girls.
They have a few different programs for girls up until the age of 18. I know that they have a stay-in, where you can live in the center. They have an after-school program, and I'm fuzzy on the third program. But the girls can come there, even if they have a home and they just need extra village-like support, then yeah, they can come there after school and have their own place that they can grow and have assistance. They have mentors. They offer mentors there. Yeah, it's a great place.
So it's pretty big, isn't it?
It's big and small. I thought it was going to be larger than it was when I went to go visit. But they have a lot of people there that are concerned about the young women.
Yes, I've been over there myself. We did some poetry over there years ago. I think some skits. I think might have been some skits too. I took my students over there, and with Alternatives for Girls, you said that they could have a home, but they can still come
Yeah,
over there.
and come in after school for that guidance. Yeah, and depending on what their situations are.
Okay, Raquel, let's kind of go back to you. You were raised in Southfield,
Well, I was born in Detroit. I moved to Southfield in seventh grade. So I went to middle school and high school in Southfield.
and that's where I met you. I met you in
Yes.
Southfield. But I heard that about this program on Facebook, and then one of my co-hosts on Table Talk, Dr. Rose, she's going to be speaking at the program.
Yes. Published author Dr. Rose Moten Lane.
Yes.
Yes, and
She,
she is going to pour into my attendees. So
right.
it's levels to this whole thing. I set it up where the backdrop is the tea. The girls will receive monies that are donated. But I wanted to shine a light on people that I've met that are doing great things. Dr. Rose Lane, Cher Taylor. She went to
I
Southfield
know
High.
Cher.
She owns her own company, Simplicities. She's going to supply the tea for the event. I have a woman that I come across who made this hat, Derby Hats by Rochelle, and she's in Farmington Hills. I came across her and just kept her information, called her up. She has probably like 15 hats, different people that have bought her hats, and we're going to have a little fashion show. So I'm shining a light on those women, and then I'm going to pour into the women with my speaker, and I've grown all along this whole journey. So it's just levels to this whole thing.
Once you do it the first time, it gets easier and easier and easier. And Raquel, what kind of student were you?
I was too much. Bouncing off the walls type of student. And teachers like you that could see what I needed, it meant everything to me. Uh, I was able to travel in Detroit to act around Detroit. and allowed me to express myself.
Well, that's what we were talking about with the last guest. The arts are so important to
Yes.
creativity. But to the person, tell them about some of the other classes and things that you learned in sculpture. You had sculpture. This was
Yes.
just in high school.
In high school at Southfield High, my favorite classes that allowed me to be me were sculpture, jury, photography, and my acting class. Those are my four favorite classes. Yeah.
Well, sometimes students come to school just for those types of classes. A way to you have to have that student who thinks differently, who learns differently, who doesn't have that patience. Sometimes it takes a lot of patience. If you're arts oriented, it takes a lot of patience to sit down and look at in a math class and try to get it. Sometimes it does.
And you took a lot of patience with me. I
I
mean, I
know.
had
I say,
chorus.
here she comes down the hall. I hear her. I hear her. Who's screaming? Here she comes down the hall. Why is she screaming? I'm not even going to get involved in that. Just come on in and let's do what we have to do.
But you were a part of my village.
Well, yeah,
And
I
to
know.
equate, think of all of the girls that we know.
Yes.
There's girls in our schools, girls that might attend our churches. They're on our
Right.
blocks. They're in our families. They may even be in our homes. They don't have what I had. And Miss Perryman, Alternatives for Girls, is that village.
Right.
Is
Right.
that village.
Absolutely.
And we
Absolutely.
have to support organizations
And
that
what's
are
so
doing that.
good about a tea? Tell the audience what's so good about a tea. I think I know what I know about it, but
So many different things. Well, when I go back in my mind, I sat and drank tea with my grandmother, and we always had cheese and crackers. And when I say cheese, I'm just talking about the Kraft, the flat one. But to this day, I still want cheese and crackers every time I have tea. But to have a tea, the hats, the fashion, the friends, the conversation. I'm going to offer table topics.
oh,
Yes, table topics at each one of the tables so they can have something to, discuss over the tea. And it builds this camaraderie. It's just very loving, and I'm one of those lovey, huggy type of people. Yeah, it's going to be great.
so tell me, let's talk about girls. Girls from when you were young and today. What is the change that you've seen in girls?
The more aggressive when it comes to dealing with the young men.
In which ways?
Clothes. So their outfits. Calling, because I have a son. They call you over, like when we're walking in the mall. Hey, come over here, and we didn't do that. When I walked with my parents, I might see someone I knew. I did that, or I was walking with my father. I might smile, but that was it. I could not step away from my father. I couldn't ask a guy to come over. Girls are just more aggressive when they're dealing with the opposite sex.
Yeah, and they will call a boy. Well, I couldn't call him when I was coming along. I mean, I was way before you, but we weren't allowed to like call the boy, call his house.
Right.
He had to call us first. Girls are aggressive also in that they are violent now, more so.
Yeah, and I don't really engage in watching those videos, but I've heard about them where
Right.
they're fighting. I guess they're fighting
Right.
on the videos.
Right.
Yeah.
My nephew's he just retired, New York City police officer, and his precinct was the one where they had this big fight in McDonald's, where they were just stomping on girls' heads and everything like that, and they took the girls to jail, and they will have to stand trial. But there's so many of those that are going around, and I wouldn't even watch it. Jaleesa, she tried to show it to me. I just wouldn't even watch it. I don't want to see sisters getting beat up.
No.
What can we do? Well, I have a particular program that I used. It's called the Think Twice Project, which we went around to girls, and it's a little acting and other things, but I'm going to rejuvenate that soon. But what do you think we can do? Well, I think one thing, like you having Dr. Rose speak at your tea, is great. But what are other things that women and people in the community can do to help our young ladies? Because our young ladies are going to be mothers, many of them.
Yes. I found myself, especially at church, I found myself, staying up with what they're doing, what they're into, making little suggestions, pick a girl up if they can't attend one of the great things that the church has to offer. And, just making kind suggestions and trying to keep up with what they're doing, and that's what I've done. But I think that everybody has something different to give, just like I'm doing the tea, and people say, well, why? I said, well, why not? If not me, then who? So if everyone feels like that, then each thing that they do will be contributing to the success of the girls.
Now, what about peer pressure with young ladies? Do you think it's bigger now than it was before, or some of them are more independent now?
I believe that it comes from your home, how strong you are to deal with peer pressure, but I think it's definitely magnified exponentially.
Did you follow the crowd?
To a certain degree, yes, but I still stood out. There's a lot of things that I did not do and still don't do. And my friends still talk about me. You're not going to take that drink. I'm not a big drinker, and that's what I say, and I stand by that. I'm not really,
Right.
I only do it a couple of times a year, my birthday, or, but you have to know who you are.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and when we have empowerment, someone who's teaching, preaching, and keeping them in that empowerment role, saying, I believe in myself, the person that I am. I'm not a big drinker. I believe in myself. I'm not going to have sex before marriage. I mean, what I'm saying? Those type of things that need to be preached. And that's what Dr. Rosamond Lang, I mean, she has the Bloom. She was doing that at Wayne County Community College, Oakland County Community College. She's going all over. And that helps these young ladies.
Yes, it does, because it makes you think. I remember I was on tour with Sister Soldier at one time early. I wasn't rapping. I was speaking.
Right.
And Sister Soldier told this story about how she lives in New Jersey, and this guy came over to their house because she has a husband and a little boy. And the guy came over, and he and Mike were downstairs. They were making beats in the basement because he has a studio. And Mike was there. He had lunch there. The friend had lunch, and the friend had dinner there. And then all of a sudden, the friend says, it's about 5, 6 o'clock in the evening. He says, well, let me go. My girl's in the car. Let me get out here. Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
He had left her. Talk about no respect. And girls have to realize what respect is. He had left that girl in the car all day.
Oh, no.
Didn't invite her in for anything, and she did not come to the door.
Yeah.
I mean, but those are some of the things that happen.
Yeah, but it has to be poured into them at an earlier age so they can stand up for themselves. I have a boundary. That's unacceptable. And that's the things that we have to teach and preach to our girls. I have a daughter. She's 23. She's
23.
23.
Oh, my goodness.
She's 23. And she has her own mind, and she will express herself and tell someone, that is unacceptable. It's unacceptable.
Well, we have to get more girls to feel like that. What about, well, we have a program, too, on teen dating violence prevention. Now, dating violence or domestic abuse type violence is not just hitting somebody.
Yes,
it's the emotional and sexual abuse also. So are these young ladies learning the warning signs that a relationship could be very toxic? They have to know what makes a relationship toxic. Because sometimes guys will do things to you, and then they'll come back begging back, and they take them back. Oh, he shed a tear for me.
Right. Yeah, the young
Alternatives.
ladies, sometimes I believe that they see maybe their mothers or their aunts in
Right.
these same situations
Right.
and deem it okay. And we need that type of support, layers of support, home, school, organizations like Alternatives for Girls that are saying the same things, So we need it at all levels, even the women,
So how can we get tickets to this tea?
You can go to eventbrite.com and search the Mad Hatters Tea Party. The Mad Hatters Tea Party.
Do people have to wear their hats?
You It's not you don't have to wear a hat. No, you don't have to wear a hat, but it is suggested. And I'm gonna have on my gloves also, my tea gloves.
Wow. So today is the last day?
Today is the last day for the Eventbrite to sell the tickets. We have about 20 tickets that are left.
So what if somebody wants one and they hadn't picked it up today?
Well, Eventbrite was shut down. You can give me a call and see if there are any extra tickets. My contact number is 313-207-0996. Again, that's 313-207-0996. My name is Raquel Wilson.
You know what I like too? If we could teach young ladies how to dress, because sometimes some of the clothes is too tight. You know, they go out, they want to be seen, but what do you find with the clothing some of them wear? Not all.
Well, I know that apparel is expression, but I would like to see women educated to know when to wear what. At church, there's a certain, attire. At an interview, I stood in line, maybe it was about 3 years ago. I went to a job fair. There had to be like 500 people there. There was only maybe 10 people dressed correctly. 10. 10.
For a job fair, we always learn if you're going to look for a job, clean up
10.
and straighten up and
The
iron
women
up.
had clothing on that looked like, that you would go to a lounge or a club.
Well, there are some places that give women clothes
Yes.
to wear
For interviews.
for interviews.
Just for that.
Jackets for jobs.
Yeah.
They give women clothes just for that.
Yes.
That's unfortunate, but we just have to get out into the community and talk to these young ladies, talk to them, show them what to do, because I don't know, parenting, some people just don't have it.
Yes. And it's what we've been saying. You're saying it, I'm saying it. These women need layers of education, and if it's not in their home, then that means that there's an adult somewhere that doesn't know any better, allowing that young lady to leave out. My daughter knows what to wear to an interview. Everyone does not. So we need to, as a community, interconnectedness, preach the same, teach the same.
Well, we could do it at church, but everybody doesn't attend church.
Right.
So what do we do then?
There are nonprofits, there are schools, teachers. I mean, we have people that are pillars in the community.
But also, they could look it up on the internet,
You can.
because you could get on Facebook. If you could get on Facebook on your phone, you could get on Google or something like that.
Wiki.
Yeah, and tells you how to dress.
Yeah, you can. You can query anything.
So Raquel, is this going to be your last year for doing this, or this is the first year? Are you going to do it again?
Yes. I am going to do it again. The Mad Hatter's Tea Party, I want to have that each year, but to choose a different nonprofit organization to give to.
Well, that's excellent.
Yes.
I mean, are you going to make it like a nonprofit?
Well, we shall see. Right now, it's just friends raising funds. Getting people together and that believe in the same vision of pouring back into the community, because we are all the community. We're all the community. Our blocks, our respective cities, we're connected.
Where does Alternatives for Girls, where is that located?
It's on West Grand Boulevard. I'm sorry.
Right in Detroit. And they could use all the help that they can get, because there are a lot of people. As we traveled around, my students and I would travel around to different schools, we would note that, the kids would come up on stage. If we were on stage getting set for something, they didn't even understand what a stage was for. I don't know. People are shutting down on our kids, and I can't stand it. Yeah. They just don't even tell them anything other than, this is what I'm supposed to teach you. They act like they can't tell you anything about the world. The world is important.
But I believe that a lot of the now adults went through the process that we're talking about. They did not have that information poured into them, and now they have the
What do you
children of
think
their own.
happened? What do you think happened?
I don't know. Maybe the disconnection in family when fathers were not, in the household. Maybe that made the difference, and women were fending for themselves. Then they weren't, going to college. Those types of things. But there are programs all around. There are programs to pour into adults that will teach them how to be a parent. They're programs. You just like you said, you go on the internet. There are programs all around town. The Parent
Absolutely.
Network, I believe that's one of
Yes,
them.
yes, yes, that is one of them. And if you, what do you think? Okay, I'm going to ask you this question. What do you think of the Housewives shows?
I've never seen one.
Oh, interesting. I have.
I don't watch them. I've heard
And
about them, but I don't watch them.
well, what happens is that for some people, they think that that should be their reality because there's a lot of bickering that's going on. In other words, they're geared to the fact that if you don't, have something going on, some issues, then the ratings are going to be down. We have a society that's so used to looking at the worst side of things or wanting to see that bad side of things.
And I've heard it's exploitation because half the
It
time
is.
that's not what's happening on stage. So when they have somebody looking like this and somebody looking like this and mad at each other, that's just they're cutting up everything that's happened and making it out to be more than it
Well,
was.
and also it doesn't show how women can be friends.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely.
And that's what I get from it. Doesn't show that women can be friends. And women can be friends.
Yes.
Now, every woman doesn't have to be your friend,
Right.
but who sits up and fights like that all the time?
Yeah, I've heard about it. Yeah, it's not normal. It's not normal, and it's showing. I guess it's showing the young ladies something that they should not emulate, and I think they are. The way I hear it, with the in school and the fighting and what's going on,
Right.
it's a norm that's not normal. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a norm. I don't know. I think some people aspire for it to be their normal. So it's like a new normal.
Yeah. It's unacceptable. And the young ladies deserve, I mean, and the young men, we deserve to have a normalcy in our lives where education is key. We have a loving family. It's not these turmoil, tug, push and pull, but it's a reality. These children that are my friends' classmates or my daughter's old classmates, they've gone through really challenging, stressors in life. Stressors, I would say.
But nothing has to last forever.
No.
And you can get through that with support. And that's why I say women ought to be, friends. And I have this one poem I'm going to, it's called Don't Hate. And I do it quite a bit, but I do it because women have a tendency to say, "Oh, I don't like her." They don't even know her. And it goes like
Why?
this. Why'd you say that? You don't even know her. Stop hating and start relating to that sister over there. Sure, the guys are attracted to her. So what? Just because she's new to the scene doesn't mean she's trying to take your place or throw dirt in your face. Stop swearing and start caring about that sister over there. Now, everyone needs a friend indeed, and I'm sure you have friends of your own. I'm not asking you to be that lady's buddy or give her the number to your phone, but my mama says everyone deserves the time of day. And don't judge a book by its cover. And whenever I need a word to the wise, I think of the wisdom of my mother. So stop swearing and start caring about that sister over there. Be a leader, not an instigator. Give yourself time to know her. If not now, do it later. Just stop being a hater. Stop loathing and start loving that sister over there.
I love it.
But that's, the way I feel about it. That's the way I feel about it. Thank you, though.
And
But
you were that. Just that whole poem, that's what you were at Southfield High. And you said those types of things to all of us. And you let us know that You know, your existence is your existence. She's not detracting from you. I've heard you say it.
Right. Well, girls, they're learning for the first time. Petty jealousies are no good. But,
I do want to say one thing.
okay.
I received, when I posted the event on Facebook, I received an inbox. It was from someone else from Southfield High. And she said, I bet you don't know that I went there. I stayed there. I stayed at Alternatives for Girls, and it meant the difference in my life. I am who I am today because of Alternatives for Girls. It gave me goosebumps.
Oh, miraculous.
It made all of this, all of the challenges to even get to the event, it made it worthwhile.
Wow, this is wonderful. So the event date again is?
May 30th at 11 o'clock. You can go to eventbrite.com, search the Mad Hatter's Tea Party, and purchase a ticket. Get your fascinator. Have your gloves on.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And remember, everybody, we have a rerun of Table Talk today, but we'll be back hitting it next week. I got some interesting shows. In fact, I even have someone coming from England who's going to be on the show next week. I will see you then. Happy weekend to you.